Good afternoon. This is the meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Water and Power Commissioners for July 16, 2013. And I'd just like to welcome everyone here. This is going to be our only meeting in the month of July. And I anticipate there being just one meeting in the month of August, too. So we're welcoming you to this meeting, and yet, let's see, we have a roll call to take. Barbara, who's here?
We have Commissioners Parfrey, Moss, and Noonan present.
And that is a quorum. And I should also note that on Channel 35, this proceeding is being broadcast, and the exact times and place, if you want to experience this all over again, can be found by contacting Channel 35. The next item, please, Barbara.
Next item is a report and briefing by the General Manager.
Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Commissioners. There is an item that I wanted to bring to your attention. At a prior Board of Commissioners meeting, we had a very, very full agenda, and one of the items was a presentation on supply chain services that was to go into a fair amount of detail with respect to some of the issues that I know affect concerns that Commissioners have raised, and also impact the timing with which we're able to move forward on procurement items. I wanted to just bring to your attention that this year, by virtue of a number of the major programs that we are undertaking, both in the water and the power side, that we have a significantly increased number of contracts and procurement items that are coming before the Commission. You kind of can see that on this board agenda. Today is a pretty good example of that. And while Gwen Williams, who is head of supply chain services, is not here, not available today, I did want to at least make you aware of a likely trend, and some of them that you have no doubt have seen on this board agenda item, of the fact that we are understaffed by probably a good 15 people in supply chain services. Positions have been approved, I should say, for hiring exemptions to add people for a number of months. But going through the process through civil service to bring people in takes inordinately more time than one might think. And as a result, we are understaffed at a point in time when we're actually seeing some of the highest level of contracts and items that are coming before this board. The result of that is a situation where, as I said, some that are on the agenda today, some of which you've seen in the past, and some of which we'll be seeing more of as a trend, hence the reason for bringing this up, of circumstances where we're simply not going to be able to get out and do new requests for solicitations for some of the items for which we often go out for. And then the result that you will see is an increasing number of circumstances where we're going to have some 6 to 12 month extensions of existing agreements while we get out. And frankly, I would say in most of these cases, and we're not perfect, in most of these cases, I think it's warranted. It's an issue where we just simply can't get things through our supply chain services people in a manner, irrespective of how much advanced work we may have done by either the power or the water system or our joint system that are the actual sponsors of these procurements. So I just want to make you aware that we're doing everything we can to push forward on these, but probably for, I would say, a good 6 or more months, we're going to be seeing circumstances where we're going to be having to extend some contracts when we would prefer to have been able to gone out for a new request for proposals. In many cases, those RFPs are out and on the street. Other cases where they aren't quite there yet, but are being worked upon. So I just want to make you aware of that upcoming trend and let you know that we're doing everything we can to minimize that.
Thank you very much. The next agenda item is comments and requests from the Commissioners related to DWP operations. And Ms. Noonan, do you have any requests for reports back?
Not at this time, thank you.
And Mr. Moss?
Nope.
All right. Next agenda item, please.
It is an opportunity for the public to address the board, and I do have one speaker card.
Can you call the speaker, please?
Speaker is Peter Griswold. And please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Aaron already knows, I'm not a good speaker, so I just scribbled up this little note to get it over with. The department can do a big favor to our city by allowing the ratepayers to insert a small note or a photograph with their submittal, which would show the exact location of tree-damaged sidewalks. At almost no cost, the city will come and collect these items. As the LA Times' Steve Lopez quoted me last September, I volunteered to gather a retired group of professionals to develop a comprehensive work scope for all this work needed. I'm a 40-year construction estimator. The city can divide, package, prioritize the many segments to issue the various contracts as needed. This can ration their expenses. This can involve many contractors. This can employ many workers. Thank you.
Mr. Griswold, if I may, just as a point of fact, the T-shirt that you're wearing, I designed that personally 25 years ago.
Which one?
The Catholic worker T-shirt that you're wearing. Yeah, I made that.
Help our brothers.
All right, thank you. That was unusual. I apologize. Yeah. Can we add that to the accomplishments of the board, please? All right. The next agenda item, please, Barbara.
Is any potential comments or reports from the ratepayer advocate?
Mr. Pickle, are you here? Are your representatives?
Not today, on the basis of what's agenda so far.
All right. Thank you very much. Next agenda item, please.
Is approval of the minutes from the March 19th meeting?
Any comments? Any motions?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved. And at this time, I would like to entertain the consent items that are not being commented upon or pulled. And according to my records, and let me see if this is accurate, we can agree to items 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 18, 24, 28, 29, and 30. Does that comport with your understanding?
Good to me.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
And hearing no objections, the aforementioned items have been approved. Thank you very much. So, Barbara, the next agenda item, please.
So that would be on to agenda item number 10.
Item 10. And does the Commission choose to have a presentation, or are there some questions specifically? All right, Commissioner Noonan. And who's appearing for the department? Can you please introduce yourself for the record, please?
Good afternoon. Lou Feldmeyer, Assistant Director, Supply Chain Services.
How are you? Thank you.
We're talking about ladders.
Yes. So I just would like some background. To me, this kind of reminded me of asking the board to approve auto parts when they weren't really defined and listed, and I just want some background as to how often are the ladders replaced. You give the outline gives a number of ladders, but it doesn't state whether all of our facilities get new ladders at the same time, how often they're replaced, what happens with the old ones, do we get any credit in returning those? So that kind of
All
background.
good questions. The ladders are replaced as needed. All our ladders are inspected annually. We have a number of ladder inspectors throughout the department. The old ladders are actually salvaged. We cannot resell those old ladders for liability reasons. Years and years ago, we actually did sell ladders at the city and had issues with liability. So we don't sell those. So they're only replaced when they're damaged. We maintain an inventory on most of these ladders, And again, they're all special, non-conductive. They're type 1 AA, I believe, 375-pound capacity. These are not ladders that you buy from like Home Depot, Lowe's. They are somewhat specialized to meet our requirements.
And given the substantial number of ladders that we're buying for this request, what is the average lifespan for one of these ladders? Because it seems like we're replacing a lot of ladders that got damaged.
You know, I couldn't tell you the average lifespan. It depends on the amount of use. You know, some of these ladders on the back of maintenance trucks and are used daily, and some others are not used that often. So I don't have that statistical information. I certainly have statistical information on the actual usage out of the warehouses.
And the ladders that we're buying, do they come with any kind of warranty?
Do they come with a warranty?
Yeah.
Yeah, they come with a standard warranty as long as they're not physically damaged by our crews.
Okay.
Mr. Moss?
No,
Is there a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Hearing no objections, the item passes. Thank you very much. On item 11, do we have a speaker?
No.
Is there a commissioner who chooses to ask questions related to item 11? I would like to ask a couple of questions, if I might. And could you please enter your name for the record, please?
Susan Rogani.
Hi, Susan. It's my understanding that ammonia could be a very dangerous material to transport. That's accurate.
Well, I mean, it can be, but not to the level of some other chemicals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how many vendors are there that are out there that can transport ammonia?
Honestly, I don't know how many vendors there are.
And there were very few contractors that responded to our solicitation.
Yes, that is correct.
And I'm just, curious because in the board letter, it notes that we granted a number of exceptions to the initial bid, and I was just trying to determine if there were other vendors that were out there that could respond to a bid like this, and that we were actually asking for in the future.
Well, just to summarize, staff did outreach in terms of the truck manufacturer itself for 6 truck manufacturers, and they also notified 10 tank manufacturers because that's also part of the component of making this kind of truck. And we did also follow up in terms of why we didn't get a better response, and we just got the want response primarily, and some of them were because it was only one truck we were asking for, so it was not the volume that they wanted. Others, they just weren't responsive to us. They didn't respond. Others did not produce that size of a truck with a diesel or compressed natural gas that worked in the air district. So let's see, some of them had different kinds of tanks that they primarily made and not ones for ammonia. So there were a number of reasons why they didn't respond to this bid. So we did actually make the effort to try to get more bidders, and we did follow up to see why they didn't, but there were a number of responses of why they didn't.
As the department continues to expand and use more chloramines in the future, I would anticipate that there might be, private sector interest in trying to accommodate the department in the future so that it meets our bid requirements.
Good afternoon. Marty Adams, Director of Water Operations. You're correct that it would seem that as we use more ammonia, we'd have some more opportunities. What we've found in the past is that in spite of the amount of chemicals we may use in Metropolitan Water District, the water industry typically doesn't drive a lot of the chemical industry, and so we're pretty much left with the transportation that the vendors have. In this case, the vendors use large tanker trucks for ammonia. And so with putting small ammoniation stations around, we can't accommodate a large tanker. So we have to be able to have our own tank farm where we store ammonia and then transport it ourselves like we deliver other chemicals. So this gives us a truck of the size that we can't we can't have a vendor who will deliver at this size increment. So we need a smaller truck of our own so we can move the chemical around the city. Whereas we get a large tanker from the vendor, they don't have or deliver in smaller quantities. So this gives us that gap for all these smaller stations that we're building that are in more confined areas.
So when we come back in the future, are we going to shape our bids so that the potential contractors could be more responsive than what occurred with this item?
We'll try. In chlorine, we buy chlorine in rail cars and ton cylinders and sometimes the small 150-pound cylinders. And even with that, you have competition. We have two different vendors because one won't deliver one way and one won't deliver the other. Chemical trucking is a real sensitive issue right now. And so in this business, we'd hope that there'd be opportunities, but at this point, I don't know that we'll be able to drive a company to want to have smaller delivery vehicles. And so there's no one out there who will do it at this point, so we have to do it ourselves. So just like when we take tons, we have to get them from place to place throughout the city from our storage location.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. You satisfied my questions. Mr. Moss.
Yeah, so it seems like this is a customized truck that's servicing a need for a smaller platform for the delivery of the product.
Exactly, yeah.
Two questions for you. One, having to do with liability. Are we well equipped to be able to, as a department, deliver and drive around with this chemical without incurring a lot of liability for the department?
Yes, we are. We have trained chemical delivery drivers. Compared to other things, this is a less toxic chemical than other things we have to deal with. And water treatment chemicals are chemicals, and we're well trained, well staffed to handle it. We have hazmat cleanup. We have security protocols in place. So this falls easily within the realm of what we already do.
Okay. So let me go in a different direction. Since it's this customized truck is providing a critical service to us, is one truck enough? What if this truck is broken down? How do we get the chemical to where we need it?
I think at this point, our treatment staff has asked for the one truck, and typically they're not immediate need deliveries because the chemical lasts as tank farm, and there are other water agencies using the same chemicals we are. So if we really had a long-term problem, we would work with maybe Metropolitan Water District or somebody else to get a delivery or move something around. But at this point, this is the need they've identified.
Okay.
When we get all these up and running and we think we might have more need, we'll look at that. But typically, we don't have a large fleet of trucks, and we've been pretty reliable with it. So.
Great. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I move approval of the item.
Second?
Hearing no objections, the item passes. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Item number 12.
And Richard or Christina, would
I have nothing.
no? All right. All right. Item number 12. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no objections, item 12 passes.
Thank you.
Then the next item would be item 16.
Item 16. And
This
is
one
there?
I do
All right, Commissioner Moss.
So, a year ago we approved this at one price, and today we come back at a different price. And it's, by my calculation, almost 75% more. What happened?
Well, my understanding is basically the City of Glendale did not include the price for their estimated design and inspection services, and also when they went out to bid, the bids were more than they expected, and so that's what increased the price.
Well, as I recall the item, when we looked at it last summer, the notion was that it would be less expensive for us to work with Glendale than to provide our own pipes for the recycled water. Does that analysis still hold?
Well, and this is also in the City of Glendale, so this is going to be their pipe, so they would be putting it in, their city. It's not in our streets. So it's getting, because this is on the border between Glendale and Los Angeles. So they're going to be extending their infrastructure to the park, so we could use, the water from LA Glendale. So it wouldn't be, otherwise we would have we couldn't put pipe into their city streets.
Oh, I understand that,
Right.
but we're paying for it.
Right.
It's servicing the Glendale Park, is it not?
No, it's
an
our
L-
it's our park.
an LA
It's a
city
city
park.
park. Yes, it is.
But the access is from...
It's from Glendale, right?
Okay, but I thought the justification originally for having Glendale do the work was in part, or great part, it would be cheaper to have Glendale do it than for us to do the work ourselves. That's what I recall, and that I think was referenced again in the board letter. So I'm just wondering if anyone sat down with a calculator, given the price increase, whether that still holds true or not.
I'd have to ask Water to respond to that. I'm not certain of the details on that. I think there is, number one, I think there's also a timing issue with respect to trying to get this recycled water program going.
And has anyone pushed back against Glendale? I mean, that's a huge increase. It's 75%. Someone really dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, I don't have any further information. All I could offer is to take it back and see whether we could do some additional analysis for you.
Yeah, I think that we might want to do that. That would be my recommendation to the board. I'm just uncomfortable, having someone come back a year later and say, whoops, we made a mistake, and now it's not quite twice as much, but almost.
I agree. I had also asked to have this item pulled for the same concerns that you had. And the other thing that I think would be helpful once it's presented to this board again is for them to actually include the bids so that we can take a look at them and do our own internal audit to see why there is such a rise and what their estimated bid was to what the actual bid is that they're proposing. So I'd like a breakdown of those numbers and who they intend to work with.
So I would move to defer this item to a future meeting.
Can I ask about timing on this? Do we have any legal obligations to deliver water to the city parks by a date certain? So can this item be postponed?
No, there's not a legal obligation for us to deliver. Although I believe that the bids, because they did put this out to bid, and so there's a certain time frame in which the bid price is good for. So if it's deferred, probably they'll have to ask to have that bid price held. So that's what I believe that they're going to have to do. Which is
Commissioners,
Yes.
I believe we can come. Our next meeting is August 6th.
In August?
So
Yeah.
I'm subject to check. I think we can work within that. Get back, get you the information we need to, and have Lindell here to be able to answer these questions directly as well. Probably would be a benefit.
Okay, I appreciate that.
We can do that.
All right, so the item has been deferred. Thank you.
Well, we'll move for
need a
deferral. I
Move for deferral. It's been seconded.
Yes.
And I concur, so the item
There we
is
go.
deferred. All right. Next item, Barbara?
Item number 17.
This is whether we accept a lot of money. So who wants to take that one on?
I would just very, very...
Send it back?
No. I want the money too. I had two questions, or one question and then a recommendation for the resolution. The question I have is on the attachment B, the number of safe drinking water project priority listed, but there were no indications of when those projects are going to occur. So I just wanted to ask, a point of information when we think these are going to happen.
okay. Well, basically, for instance, we have the various reservoirs that we have water quality compliance deadlines for. So, for instance, if you look at, there should be Allegiant Reservoir Water Quality Improvement Project. Allegiant is required to be out of service at the end of 2015. So shortly after that, we will start the project. I mean, they're various. It goes from...
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Right, right.
You've got probably close to 20 listed on here. Why don't we just do this? Maybe as a point of information, with our next board packet, you could give us an updated list that just indicates the projected time for these projects to occur.
Yeah, and I believe it was on the last board meeting. We do a quarterly report for the board on all these water quality compliance projects, and I think all these projects were in our last report. But we'll get a copy of that and get it back to you, and then it'll answer your question.
On the resolution, I would like to move for approval, but I'd also like to make an amendment to the resolution, simply to have the management report back to the board whenever the financial assistance occurs, just so that we're kept advised as to what's going on with these safe drinking water funds.
Susan informs me that it is item 39B2 on today's agenda. There's a report for the board.
Right.
Okay, well then, see, that's fast. I like that.
We try to be responsive, Commissioner.
Yes, no, I appreciate that. That's great.
And there may be one or two that are, because these are mainly geared towards compliance, which most of these are, but we'll double check it, and if there's one or two of these that are not included in this report, we'll get you a little side report with the dates on those.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. McDaniel. Just to clarify my amendment is that on the be it further resolved on the second page where it talks about the Senior Assistant General Manager Water System or designee to sign SDW SRF funding agreements and amendments, and then to report such actions to the board. That would be the specific amendment that I'd like to make.
Is that amendment acceptable? It is.
It is for me?
It is. And in that light, it is accepted. Is there a motion to approve the item?
So moved as amended.
Second.
Hearing no objections, item 17 carries. And the next item, I believe, is item 19.
Yes.
May I ask who's presenting?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Matt Lamp, Chief Information Officer. Item number 19 is an agreement for the fiber optic enterprise market evaluation strategy development. This is one we've talked about bringing to the board for quite some time. It's finally here. We had a number of bidders on this proposal. We had two quite well qualified bidders who went to a final interview round. The Columbia Telecom Corporation, who had done our last study for us, and Sequoia Telecom Associates, who did the pricing study previously in the most recent period. And going through all the rating factors, they came out as the preferred vendor for this contract. So we'd like to move ahead and get this study done.
Mr. Moss?
Yes, I'm strongly in favor of this item. I would like to discuss a couple of little elements to it. In the board letter, there's a statement that there's an outline, a project schedule with deliverables submitted within a 12-week period from the kickoff date. So, unfortunately, I couldn't find any reference to that in the contract itself, and I wanted to make sure, because I think time is of the essence with this strategy. I'm a little nervous about it being a one-year term. I don't want this thing going out for a full year. I'd like to have it done and completed within the, approximate 12-week period. But unfortunately, I didn't see that time frame anywhere in the contract. I might have missed it. It's a fairly lengthy contract. So what I'd like to do is request that we get a report back by Sequoia on their progress in 14 weeks' time, where they give us give the board a full-blown presentation of their preliminary thoughts on the strategic policy for fiber optics.
Is that amendment acceptable, Ms. Newman? Does the department feel like they can work with that?
I believe so. Okay.
Mr. Nichols.
I have a question, Mr. Chair and Commissioner Moss. You're proposing that it be a requirement and an acknowledgement, but not shortening the ultimate contract term.
That's
so that
correct.
we have
We'll
the
keep it
ability in the event there's something that comes up that you
Absolutely.
want some additional work, etc.
Right,
we have the ability to continue.
But I just want to make sure that we're all in agreement that time is of the essence and that we'll get a preliminary report back, not a final report, but a preliminary report showing great progress in their strategic planning.
Okay. Mr. Moss, do you have any other items related to this item?
No, I'll just take them in order. But I would move approval of this item.
All right, very good. Is there a second?
Second?
Hearing no objections, the item passes. Thank you. Next item, please, Barbara.
Item number 20.
So, this is on the, and Christina, was this your item?
No,
or
I
is
pulled
this
this one too.
Do you have questions
I do.
specifically?
I do.
Is this Mr. Lamp as well?
It is, Mr. Lamb.
It is
Security
indeed.
Information and Event Management Solution. I just want to understand this a little bit better because as I was reading the contract and I was reading the board letter, it seems that everything is set up very much towards the development and purchase of a software product or products. And I was wondering if that is sort of precluding the end game here, and that maybe, or maybe I misunderstand what we're trying to do, but wouldn't it seem to me that if you're bringing in someone to look at your security, you want them to be looking at what you have today and maybe make improvements upon that, not necessarily precasting the conclusion to want to go out and buy something new?
Okay, so let me back up. A number of years ago, we had, actually Deloitte was the contractor who came in and did sort of helped us with an overall strategy around improving cybersecurity for the department. At that point, we did not really have an enterprise information security unit. I came on board sort of just when they were finishing that work and delivered the report to us. And over the years, we've done a number of steps in terms of creating a small cybersecurity unit, implementing policy, a whole series of things that have come to the board over the years. As we look out at including outside vulnerability assessments, remediation, modifications to equipment inside, one of the things that we do not have, and that's really what this is addressing very specifically, is software that helps us gather logs from a whole series of apparatus we have, servers, firewalls, routers and switches, and look for anomalous patterns in those logs that would tip us to either people attempting to probe inappropriately our network or applications, or actually penetrating into that. And we do some of that manually now in terms of looking at logs, but that whole idea of a correlation engine is really what this is aimed at. So we went out with an RFP to have somebody basically come in, look at sort of what we have out there that would be log sources, et cetera, and make some recommendations, help us evaluate the products that can help then pull those in and correlate them and help us with the implementation. And that's what this contract is for. When we get to not the current version of NERC SIP, but I think in SIP 5, they move to a requirement for automating some of that type of log review from a manual to a more automated. And getting this into position gets us ready for when they finally put that into effect. So this is really a very specific tool meeting a contract to help us address a very specific gap in our posture right now.
So does it take $1 million to figure out what to buy ultimately?
And then install and configure.
Well, is that part of what they're going to be doing?
Yeah, they're going to be helping us with the install and configuration. The software itself is not in here. That we'll purchase under a different contract. But no, this is also for them then to help install and configure. So it's two phases. It's the selection and then the implementation.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move to approve.
Second?
Hearing no objections, the item passes. Next item, please, Barbara.
Item number 21.
So actually, we can take 21, 22, and 23 together, if you'd like.
Very good.
In light of, I'd like to make a proposal to the board. In light of the fact that we're just approving a strategic plan for our fiber optics enterprises, it doesn't seem to me to make a whole lot of sense to be approving new contracts for 2 years or 5 years, because we might go in a different direction based upon the results of our strategic analysis. So what I would like to do with these 3 items is to defer them and then ask staff to go back to the customers and see if we can do 1-year extensions of all of them, because I think they're all extensions, and then have them come back once we've got our strategic plan in line and go forward on that basis.
So to repeat what you just said, you would like us to direct, we are going to defer this item.
Right.
And then we are asking staff to come back with a 1-year continuation of the existing contract.
Yes.
Comments from staff?
Well, these are, as you said, existing customers looking to continue their service. We did have the results of the pricing survey that validated the pricing, and we even discussed with you additional discounts and things of that nature. So I think in the interest of our customers, it would be best to move forward with these contracts and look at what we're doing down the road from the market eval and the strategy update.
Yeah, but I just have to question the rationale of going out and saying we're going to do a strategic analysis of where we want to go with fiber optics and tying ourselves up for 5 years in some cases. This doesn't seem to make sense when we're already late on these contracts anyways, or at least on a couple of them, so let's kick them out a little longer. Apparently the customers are okay with that, and we'll see if we need to make any changes to the contracts before we tie ourselves up. That's kind of the rationale I'm operating under.
Commissioner Noonan?
I feel torn in that I know that Commissioner Moss has really taken it under his expertise to really focus on fiber opportunities for the department. By the same token, I know that you serve as a direct liaison with these customers, and we really need to depend on your insight as to whether or not you think we will lose these customers if we do ask them to just execute a short-term extension versus a 5-year deal.
Well, these customers in particular have lengthy approval processes. And as you say, the contracts are technically expired. We've been working on these deals for 6 months plus in most cases. So it's difficult to get it through to this point. So I hate to abandon what we've done and start over. We're not talking about tremendous dollar amounts here under these contracts. So I think in the interest of the customers, it would be best to go forward with them. And if they were new contracts for new services, we might want to take a look at that.
Well, at a minimum, I think you should inquire of the customers whether they'd be amenable to doing that, and if they're not, then we can reconsider it. But I have a problem here, approving long-term contracts when we know that we're going to be taking a hard look at our whole operation. It might be that the strategic plan comes out and says the department should not even be in the fiber optic business in the way it's doing it. I mean, we don't know. So why tie ourselves up?
Commissioner, and it's a little clumsy to ask this of staff, but would there be a big issue if we deferred this item until the meeting on the 6th and had an opportunity to explore a little bit further what the implications of this might be and whether there might be some other options there to address the commissioner's concern?
We could certainly go back to the customers and see if they would be amenable to that. As you pointed out, the contracts are expired as is, so we could do that.
So just to be clear, then, what we
service would continue.
What we recommended, service continues as is right now. We would come back at our next board meeting and be able to give you a more definitive determination of that, and/or potentially explore whether there are other options that meet your same need.
Right. So I would be okay with that.
Asking staff, is that you see a particular problem with that?
We could do that.
Okay. Thank you.
So to be clear, we are choosing to defer items 21, 22, and 23 to the August 6th board meeting. And that is the motion?
That is the motion.
It has been seconded?
Yes, it has.
And so we are deferring those 3 items. Thank you very much. Barbara, the next item, please.
Item number 25.
Now, I'm the one who brought this up, and I don't know if fellow commissioners have any comments on this item. No? I just noted that usually a $70,000 contract doesn't come before us, and the reason it is coming before us is because it's a multi-year contract. Is that accurate?
Well, this is actually a ballot that you're giving the authorization to the general manager to vote on, and then under Prop 218, any kind of new assessment requires approval of the entity
by the governing body?
Exactly. So the general manager doesn't currently have that authority, so that's why we're coming to the board. It's not really as much the money issue per se.
Yeah, I just found this to, very supportive of the BIDs. I'm very pleased that the department is taking a leading role in supporting them. I just was wondering why this had to require board approval.
But once it gets approved, then we won't come back just to make the payments. It's just when it gets reestablished or renewed, we take it back to the board.
All right, thank you. Are there any additional questions?
No.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Hearing no objections, item passes. Next item, please.
Item number 26.
Item 26 is our request for a recommendation of a one-year contract extension with Siegel Company. They provide actuarial services in connection with the department's administration of an other post-employment benefits plan. It's for $134,000. We had considered doing an RFP, but were advised, given the workload of our procurement group, that the one-year extension was the most optimal way to go at this point.
So this is one of those items you were talking about?
It is indeed, Commissioner.
Okay, all right. Well, my question was, did we bid it out? But obviously we didn't, so
correct.
I'm okay with that.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Item passes. Thank you very much. Next item, please.
Item number 27.
Do either of my fellow commissioners have questions related to the Experian?
I do. Thank you.
Commissioner Noonan, please.
So in this request, you don't touch upon the projected fiscal benefit for the department. You ask for almost $1.5 million for a one-year contract, and you, in a very general way, talk about the program, but I'd like to know what kind of return on investment we're getting should we decide to approve this request. So if you would answer that, and also maybe dig in a little bit deeper on the actual program and how it's going to work.
Okay, well, why don't I take the first one? Oh, Mickey Yonamine, customer service. I'll take one example here, and we can go through all of them. In terms of low income, that's something that we've added for this one, where in the past, the way we've done low income recertification is we've sent out letters. People have to recertify for low income and then send that information back to us. What we're going to do with this Experian contract is utilize it so that we can actually check their database. And if these customers still would qualify for low income, go ahead and recertify them for low income. And then for those that fall out of that, then go ahead and outreach to them. So that's a cost savings to us. Then we don't have to do that on the back end. It's a manual process. Okay.
And when you say it's a cost benefit to us, do you have estimated dollars?
I don't have that specific number, but I can always come back on that. But it is, for instance, the last time we did this, at least half of them didn't come back to us, so we just have to go outreach to them. So I can do a cost on that, but in terms of the quantities.
Commissioner Moss.
I'm curious, what information does Experian have that they're able to verify whether someone's low income?
They're basing it on, well, if we have the
Credit
Social
rating.
Security number, they look at behavior patterns in terms of their consumption patterns, in terms of other consumer behavior, right? How they're purchasing, things of that nature. And also, if we have the Social Security, they do have that kind of information in terms of income.
Kind of frightening.
Maybe we just ask the FBI for that. All right, so...
I definitely, but please go on. But I do think it's necessary if we're going to agree to invest $1.5 million into this program on an annual basis, and the cost may rise. I'd like to know what kind of savings.
I'm sorry, it's 1.5 over 3 years. So it's really, it's less than $500,000 a year. Actually, this is a 3-year contract. 1 year plus 1 year options.
It says what was provided here. The proposed agreement will not exceed $1,482,000 over a term of 1 year, with an option to renew.
That is what the board letter says.
Oh, but okay. It really should have read that it's actually $494 a year over 3 years, one every year. So it's really a 1.48 contract for 3 years.
Are other utilities also using these type of means to get information on their customers?
Yes. For this particular one, yes. And this, we actually bid it out. We only had 2 bidders that actually came back. We actually sent it out. There were at least 8, that we actually outreached to, but there was only 2 bidders. It was Experian as well as Equifax.
I'm asking if other utilities are implementing this kind of technology.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, when I read the board letter, I thought what we were doing was doing credit risk assessment for purposes of security deposits and those sorts of things.
That's part of this. This contract includes the credit risk assessment for residential and non-residential customers.
And I'm fine with that, but it's kind of, I don't know, it just bothers me because is there a correlation between someone's credit history and whether they're low income or high income? I mean, how is that?
There is a scoring behavior that is part of this package that actually by a certain score you can evaluate whether or not that they would actually continue to be low income.
Let's say Experian comes back and says customer A, by our metrics, doesn't appear to be a low income customer. What do we do then?
Right. No, then what we do is we actually send out the application to them and ask them to recertify. And if they have to provide proof of income and all that to us, and then we'll evaluate once they respond back to us with that information.
So we're not making any decisions purely on the Experian information that comes back?
Right.
And do our customers need to permit us to be able to look
yes,
to have Experian
and it's on the
do it?
application, yes.
Okay, so they've already authorized this?
Right.
All right.
And so we're looking to move people off of the low-income roles rather than adding them to the low-income roles.
No, actually what we're trying to do is we're trying to include a process that will allow us to recertify customers, but do it in a way so we're not sending applications to over 300,000 people or households. So what we're doing is we're doing on an annual basis. We're looking at how many people need to recertify. We send them through this process. So those that would qualify, we go ahead and re-up them for low income. Those that don't qualify, based on that screening, we'll go ahead and outreach to them, and then they'll reapply.
Well, because we're dealing with Experian, can they just put it on a credit card once a month for a credit rating, and they'll keep billing us? Joke. Okay. Commissioner Noonan.
I would like more definitive numbers, to be perfectly honest. I'd like to know what percentage of our customers are in this category, and over history, how we found out whether or not people are abusing the system. And I'd like to have, tangible estimates as to what the projected fiscal benefit will be. And we also would need to change, the resolution, because currently it states that this investment would cost approximately $1.5 million for 1 year, not for 3 years.
But doesn't it also say not to exceed high? I'm Christina Chavadier, customer service. The Experian contract that we're talking about right now has several different solutions combined into it. Low income is one solution. The credit risk is another. The low income is for recertification. It's a quicker method to do a manual process. And for the number of bodies to do the processing, it would take us approximately 1 year to get through all of the applications that we have. We have currently, about 700 and...
Oh, no, we have over 300,000.
Over 300,000 that we need to certify every 3 years. So if we would take that in that and multiply that times 10 full-time employees, you could see the savings that way. Because because right now the customer service representative salary for an annual basis is like $68K. So we multiply that times 10, it far exceeds what this program offers us for the low income.
I mean, given that information, if you're stating that we're going to get the return on investment just on saving those salaries alone, then I'm more comfortable moving forward.
As for the credit risk, that, as they broken out, that is a contract that we have a residential and we have commercial. The residential, we also not only because of the FACTA law, the FAIR Act and Accuracy Act, we have to verify red flag, we have to validate identity. So this is a process that we use when a residential customer makes application, we do a pause, we go in and verify that they are who they are. So that saves us on risk on revenue because we have our write-off has climbed because of people walking away from their bills. So this is a way that we can secure the revenue for the department on the residential side. On the commercial side, we get an evaluation, a report from them every quarter, depending on how often we run it, that tells us the status of the creditworthiness of the commercial and industrial customers, which also provides us a risk to base our deposit amounts on.
Well, that's it. I think this is important information to have. We need to understand as a board how big of a problem this is. And so even if we do go forward approving this item today, I still think it'd be helpful for all of us to understand those definitive numbers.
Okay.
And also just as you implement this program to see how those numbers change.
Mr. Bravich, do you have some comments on the resolution language?
I do. Actually, if we could just defer for a moment so we can reconcile the term in the contract with the term in the resolution and make sure we're consistent so that if it is approved, we don't have to come back to you to correct the reso.
So you're working on that right now?
As we speak.
All right, thank you. Mr. Moss?
I would like to know, when do you think you'll start seeing results from this? This is a new system for us, right?
This is something that we've already have a ongoing contract with Experian. It does expire. This has been beneficial to us we have had a contract with Experian since 2006. So this is an ongoing practice, and it's benefited as Experian has partnered with us and has given us such a savings and given us in our risk because our write-off has fallen because of the information that we have gotten back from Experian.
Okay.
And that's proven.
Commissioner Noonan, would you require some hard metrics from staff, at a later time in terms of what the savings has been from the current Experian contract? It would be interesting to see that if you're,
So we would entertain an amendment to the board resolution that would ask the department to report back on the cost benefit of the Experian contract. Is that acceptable? Yes. And for that report to come back once a year to this body? Okay. Mr. Bravich, have we clarified the terms of the contract?
Yes, and the only addition I would make is that at the end that we insert for the total contract amount not to exceed 1.482.
So instead of reading for an amount, it would read for a total contract amount?
Not to exceed, yes.
And do you feel that this language gives the department the flexibility to have a 3-year relationship with Experian rather than just a 1-year relationship?
It does.
And so the extension options do not require additional fees paid by the department?
Correct.
All right. That is not spelled out in the resolution?
Correct.
Okay.
That's why we're putting a not to exceed amount.
All right. Is that amended language acceptable?
It is to me.
Second.
And so, in sum, do we approve this measure?
As amended. Yes.
And so, hearing no objection, the item passes. Thanks very much. It took us a while to get there, but we got there. Next item, please.
We're on to item number 31.
Well, before we do that, now that we're through with the consent calendar, Mr. Nichols, would it be possible to take item 40 out of turn and talk about it now?
Yes, I would like to, Commissioners. Item 40 is an item that was deferred from a prior meeting again to an extraordinarily heavy agenda item we had, and I think it's timely and important to recognize the accomplishments of this board in the last 2.5 years. You've undertaken a lot. We spend a lot of time in these meetings. You all spend a lot of time outside of these meetings going through the minutia of contracts and agreements and decisions on a number of things. And often, I think, what gets not fully recognized is the significant number of major policy items and major advancements that you have championed here. And I think it's important to take stock of what that's done. We have handouts of that here. I think these have been distributed to the public in the past, but I think it's something that it's important to recognize just all the number of things that have been dealt with here. And as we look at, I think you've heard us talk about the fact that we have our 1 century of the LA Aqueduct coming up, 100 years of operation. I think it seemed to me only appropriate to recognize all the things that this board has done to set us on the right path for the next century of Los Angeles. I'd like to highlight first the power system. We'll then talk about the water system. These areas that are listed up here on this page are familiar to all of you and all of us who have dealt with many of these issues, and it's been a major points of our budgets. It's been a major consideration of our rates. It's been a major consideration of the strategic outlook that you have reviewed as well. And it's the fundamental basis of our financial planning and a lot of the outreach that we do with our customers. We've been undergoing just an incredible number of things that we've dealt with through here, and all of this is a matter of transforming the power system in a lot of different elements. We're exiting coal as a major source of power for Los Angeles. You have set in motion our efforts to divest ourselves of the Navajo generating station by 2015, a very important move. You've laid out the path as well for us to be taking a very positive action in collaboration with both our Utah and California, other Southern California purchasers of the Intermountain Power Project, to get out of the Intermountain Power Project by no later than 2025, to go from 40% coal, nearly 40% today, to zero, but doing so in a very financially responsible way that takes into consideration doing this at a least cost method as you do that. It's a very major undertaking that you've done. The road that we've done to renewables, we've done under your guidance. You have pushed us forward and pushed us regularly to make certain that we've been competitive as we have bid out our renewable portfolio, as we procured that. Have we done construction and procured things on our own for wind, for large-scale solar, for our feed-in tariff program, for geothermal projects, our biofuel, as well as even the transmission lines, the Barron Ridge line that we're building for the almost express purpose of bringing renewables here. A lot of actions, constant actions in almost every board meeting that you've managed for us. A big piece of that has been solar. We started out a lot in wind, and this board has done a great deal to usher Los Angeles into the age of solar energy. And we've been moving on all fronts. You've pushed us forward. You've guided us on policies and principles on doing utility-built solar, to get our crews out there and working on these actions, learning new skills and showing that they can be competitive in doing that. We've done the 2 largest scale power purchase agreements under your guidance of any municipal utility in the nation. We have a solar incentive program that's we've already approved 100 megawatts. We'll get to under your plan and under your guidance. We'll get to 280 megawatts by 2016, and the largest feed-in tariff program in the nation that has not only statewide and national but international recognition. And on top of that, under your guidance, we worked through a very innovative program that we're rolling out right now with a lot of questions that you've given us. And work through on a very innovative approach with our Beacon Solar project, where we're marrying the bundling between utility scale, third-party development, and feed-in tariff here in Los Angeles. We've also taken up the challenge that you've given us on energy efficiency, and to do more than we've done to not only get ourselves on a path to get to 10%, at least 10% by 2020, but you've asked us to stretch to see if we can get to a 15%, and we're undergoing those efforts, and I've seen a lot of recognition for that, and that not only has done more for cost-effectively reducing carbon emissions, but saving our customers on their bills as well, and creates more in local jobs than anything else that we're doing as a department under our power system. We've talked a lot about the once-through cooling issues and the changes that we've made there. We've had many discussions before this board. You've given us a lot of guidance on where you want to go with those issues, and it's been not always an easy road, but I mean, through that process, we've received an approval of a reasonable accommodation for a timeline that allows us to get the right thing done in terms of eliminating once-through cooling, also being able to ramp up in the area of firming up and integrating our renewables. The very first project that we had, Haynes, that came on, was 6 100-megawatt, fast-starting, high-efficiency, lower-emitting turbines, and doing so in a manner that is maintaining the reliability in Los Angeles. And you've also, on multiple occasions here, had multiple actions in the last few months on moving forward on the Scattergood project as well, and you've kept our feet to the fire on that. We have spent an awful lot of your time on going through and getting your guidance on our integrated resource plan. Very few utilities do an annual integrated resource plan. And one of the reasons that we do that is to make certain that we provide good input on what are the things that are changing literally every year in technologies and costs and available resources. And you've guided us through those efforts, asked great questions as we've gone through that, and I think it provided a lot more information out there to customers and our stakeholders in that process. You have regularly asked us what can we do about our part to try to reduce air emissions outside of power plants in Los Angeles, and do our part to try to do more for electric vehicles, and pushed us to do that. We've done that, and are doing more in that regard, not only in the rebate programs for EVs, but some collaborative efforts we're doing with Southern California Edison and with the SCAPA, other Southern California Public Power Authority municipal utilities, to try to see what we can do as a region to try to get better penetration of electric vehicles, all under your guidance. That's a lot. That's just the high-level issues of things we've done on the power side. And the water system is, frankly, equally impressive in terms of what you've done. It's difficult enough to do all those things and all the issues that you've had to pore over and work through on the power side, but we're doing the same on the water side in terms of areas of continuing to expand what we're doing in water conservation and regularly imploring us to get out there, and this year being a great example of asking us pretty regularly to get out there and make certain our customers understand the importance of water conservation and what we can do out there. Our stormwater, recycled water projects, some of which were even on the agenda here today, and the groundwater cleanup efforts in San Fernando Valley. All major projects, any one of them by themselves, a major effort, and you have championed those activities literally week after week and month after month. In the water conservation area alone, the fact that we have added 1 million people over the last 40 years and gone through a time of some financial difficulties and yet still have maintained the lowest per capita water use of any major city in the nation is something that I think you can be greatly proud of continuing and expanding upon that history. And everything that we've been doing on moving, taking your guidance to move from a lot of which has been done in the past on indoor water conservation to the outdoor water conservation, as we've increased our funding at your direction, increased our funding in turf replacement and proper outside drought tolerant plants. Recycled water area is a major one. You've questioned us many times about both making certain we're moving forward and at the same time making certain we're moving forward prudently. And we've taken that guidance to heart, and we continue almost every board meeting to work with you on those types of projects and efforts. And it's one that at times we have to do some advance investment before we see the benefits, but you've always made certain that we're clear in identifying what those long-term benefits are before we move forward on it, and we appreciate that kind of guidance. The stormwater capture area is one that we get a lot of stakeholder interest in. Several of the commissioners have regularly asked us with regard to what are we doing, can we do more on that, are we prioritizing them in the right way, and that guidance has helped us get more focused in that process as we have identified several projects like this, most recently just in the recent meeting with the Tujunga Basin EIR that you approved. That is one of our bigger projects that we've moved forward on. I would like to point out something that's not on here but is perhaps even more material than these individual projects, is you have asked us to move forward more quickly to determine what can we do to expedite our overall cumulative local water supply plan to see if we can move those 2035 objectives that we have in the urban water management plan that was previously adopted, and to see if we can get that up to 2025. That effort in and of itself, I think, could well be a very meaningful legacy in the water use and water local supply plan and wise use of water here in Los Angeles. We've spent a lot of your time, and you have asked us many questions, and we've had a lot of discussion over our approaches on our meeting our water quality requirements. And this typically has been in the area of reservoir covering, bypassing Silver Lake Reservoir being examples. A lot of stakeholder issues that have raised with respect to that. A lot of concern by major contracts that we've done in the Silver Lake area and going up through Riverside and those areas as we've done the Headworks project. You have toughed it out through all of those issues and dealing with the realities of what it takes to go from a policy and regulatory compliance to being boots on the ground and digging up our streets and dealing with some of the challenges that it has. And I thank you for that guidance. And we've kept on schedule, and we've kept well within our budget and plans because of your guidance on that. This is an issue that rings true particularly with this council on the Owens Lake matters. And we know that controlling dust up there has been a major expense. You have made certain that we've focused our attention on that issue. It's something that probably didn't get as much attention as it should. Not only the cost up there, but how we have used water up there in a manner that has not been particularly efficient, to say the least, in terms of the regulatory structure that's been up there. This board has worked with a milestone agreement that the commissioners have pushed forward, particularly two of the commissioners that took this effort on and then brought the other commissioners on board with coming up with a plan for moving forward on some sensitive cultural resource issues in a settlement agreement, and equally importantly, helping to lay out some cost-saving measures that will be a better use, a lesser use of water, a wiser use of water, and still control dust on Owens Lake. A lot more to go on that, but an incredible step forward that I think is also something very major that this board has done. And I know that you read, as I do, as many do, the number of water breaks there that we've had in our system, and you have worked with us and focused us on how we can be better at prioritizing some of those efforts. How quickly can we ramp that up, and recognizing that a lot of discussion we've had here in public about how do we prioritize between the different capital projects that we have on items that similar to what we just talked about here, as well as the infrastructure replacement. And we are moving down a path there that I think is going in the right direction and getting more bang for the buck for our customers and ratepayers. And we've done a lot outside just the water and the power systems as well. If I can keep up with where I am. We have a significant effort that's undergoing, and we talk a lot about the issues on our aged customer information system. I know we've had repeated contracts before you that relate to IT services, and software items, and professional services, and you have dug into those issues over and again and pushed us on making certain that they're prudent, they're appropriate, and that we're doing what we need to do on that. And the result of that is we are on the path now to getting a 38-year-old system replaced and dozens of business processes improved through that. We have a new bill format that will get even better as we go forward that, and we'll have a system finished here in literally a matter of weeks that will significantly improve our customer service and have us be more responsive to customers, and that is a decades in the process effort that you pushed forward and pushed over the line. We have also, during your tenure, dealt with having a new party that regularly joins you at your meetings, and that's Dr. Pickle and the Ratepayer Advocate. And we have, through that process and through your initiatives, undertaken greater transparency in getting reviewing our financial projections, our capital budgets, and ultimately our power and our water rates through that. I think we have provided more information than the history of this department under your guidance, and it's shown in a better understanding by our customers, by our stakeholders, and by our ultimate regulators, which is the city council. I just can't thank you enough for the tireless efforts that you have given. I don't know that I think our employees understand all you do. I don't know that the public fully recognizes the extraordinary level of effort that you do for this and for us, and all the things that you have done in just this period of time. And I thank you greatly for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Nichols, and I'd like to thank all the staff who worked on it, but I'm hoping this isn't the final edition because I think it's been mistitled. It says Board of Water and Power Commissioners' accomplishments, and indeed, Mr. Nichols, this is your accomplishment, and to the senior staff, this is your accomplishment, and to the employees of the Department of Water and Power, this is your accomplishment. So I just want to thank you for your incredible work. Thank you. Christina?
I echo everything that Commissioner Palfrey said. I also think that the public should also be commended. I've been impressed during my time here on the board to see how many groups and individual citizens come to these meetings to voice what's important to them personally and to their communities. And it's been very nice to know that when we have tried to increase our outreach, that we do have such great attendance, and that the department really has taken time to listen to what the public needs and wants. So I commend that as well. And it's been a genuine honor working with all of you, and I feel quite proud of the collaboration and what we've achieved together. So thank you.
I think most of what I would say has already been said, and said probably better than I could ever do it. Thank you very much, Mr. Nichols, for the generous comments, and thanks for the applause. It's been my pleasure serving on this board. I want to thank my fellow board commissioners. We're a congenial group. I think we've dug in on many of the issues and worked very hard, rolled up our sleeves. And we've had a really, really good working relationship with senior staff and with the general manager and with staff throughout. And I know that there have been times when the commission has grilled people upon presenting different elements, especially on trucks. I see you over there. But keep in mind that we've done it, with the spirit of trying to advance the ball for the department and protect the interests of the ratepayers. And I hope that the next iteration of this commission continues that trend and continues pushing in an appropriate manner senior staff to maintain the trajectory that the department is on now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, this is really going to be a buzzkill because the next item I'd like to take out of order are 2 grievances. So, may I please call item. Thank you all for coming. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Barbara, I'd like to call item 37 at this time.
Okay, item 37. I do not have any speaker cards turned in for item 37.
I would like, do we need to go ahead and make a motion then?
Yes, you may.
I'd like to move for approval of the recommendation from the Personnel Board, Personnel Relations Committee.
Second.
Hearing no objection, item 37 passes. I'd like at this time to call item 38, please.
Okay, I do have a speaker card for item 38. Mr. Evan Humphreys.
Mr. Humphreys, would you like to speak now, please?
I wrote it down.
Excuse me a second. Barbara,
nervous.
how much time does Mr. Humphreys have?
2 minutes.
I timed it. 3 minutes.
All right, we'll let you 3 minutes, please.
Okay, start. I want to thank the Commission's Personnel Committee, Commissioners Parfrey and Noonan, for their correct determination that I be reassigned to my previous position as Supervisor of Distribution Planning. I request that the Board now approve this correct determination. While I have some comments about the discussion in the 6-page document, and I think the matter of reassigning bid holders like me is not a settled issue, at this time there's no need for me to go into any of that here. I thought there would be 5 of you. So the reason I came really is so the rest of you could see me. Because as I think I told you, when you see somebody filing a grievance, or you probably wonder, like when you're on jury duty, well, he wouldn't be here if he wasn't guilty. But I just thought I'd go 40-something years without a grievance, but it happened. The Distribution Planning Group is responsible for all load-related planning for the 35 kV and 4.8 kV systems, including the 20 receiving stations, 534.5 kV circuits, over 120 distributing stations, and 1,600 4.8 kV circuits. As the supervisor, I've always devoted considerable time and effort in developing the skills of all group engineers, including station and circuit load analysis and forecasting, economic and feasibility studies, load modeling, loss assessment, station and circuit capacity plan development, and large new load supply arrangements. Over the last decade, with the group size reduced from 12 to 5, having an adequate, well-trained staff for both 34.5 kV and 4.8 kV planning has become difficult. A few years ago, I initiated a stepped-up effort to assure that 2 employees of the 4 developed a sufficient working knowledge of 34.5 kV planning. with one employee developing system study skills and another largely handling the supply requirements to very large customers. With only 4 employees and 1,600 4.8 kV circuits, that must be planned. There's a clear need to balance the 4.8 kV and 34.5 requirements. That's what the group does. My dad was a civil engineer who worked for Starrett Brothers in Eakin, the company that built the Empire State Building and many other projects in New York. We came to LA when he was assigned to be the chief engineer for constructing the entire Park La Brea Towers project. My best friend for over 50 years is a retired electrical engineer, and maybe one of the reasons I also went that path. And one of my daughters has a civil engineering degree. Being an engineer runs in my family and friends, and I'm glad I'm going back to the distribution planning position. With going on 41 years here, I work for $10 a day, and I'm here for the best interest of the department and its ratepayers. I'm hopeful that this matter, as it affects me, is now over and doesn't result in any further issues. And I ask for your affirmation of this. Do you have any questions? Or?
No. Thank you for your testimony. Yes,
Thank
please.
you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for coming today. And also the other thing that I think really stood out in my mind when you last spoke to us is that in the 41 years that Mr. Humphreys has worked here, he's never called in sick one day. And I also hear you don't even take vacation time off. You're so passionate about what you do here for the department, or you rarely do. I think that your work ethic and your passion towards working for the department is very, very commendable. On that token, I also think it's very important for us to kind of carry on the conversation that we just had about all the changes that are going on with renewables. Mm-hmm. And I think that, power and water has such a strong need right now to reassign people and consider the reorganization and try and have the older, more experienced professional teach the younger generation that's going to be coming in. And, I'm very, very respectful about the need for management to do this. However, given your dedication and your experience and expertise, we did feel that it would be in the department's best interest for you to really use that knowledge and pass it on and document it for the people that follow in your footsteps that have the same passion you do for the City of Los Angeles and the ratepayers. So we look forward to having you share that wealth of information that you've developed over the 41 years with the younger people on your team.
The reason I mentioned it is because, and I wasn't going to go into this, but there was an inference in the 6-page document that seemed to me that I haven't been doing that, and that there's nothing further from the truth. I'm probably the most forthcoming person you'll meet in the area I work in. Mm-hmm. There's people coming to me all the time for assistance, mm-hmm. and the inference that I'm not doing that, which maybe was accidental, is if it was on purpose, it's absurd.
Well, I personally will thank you in advance for continuing to do that and for doing it even more, given that you are being reassigned to your previous position. Thank you.
Commissioner Moss.
I just simply like to move approval of the Personnel Relations Committee decision.
Aaron,
if I can
please.
comment,
please.
I would, whatever the board makes a decision, I will make sure it's fully implemented, as you know. But in this case, this training topic that's very critical for us. This will take us backwards because we are hiring a whole bunch of new engineers that are coming in, and they're going on 2-year training program, and it's going to be a department-wide program. I cannot have pockets of what different groups think they're doing a rotation program and a training program, and otherwise this will set us backward as far as planning for the future. So I will implement whatever this board decides to do, but I have to say my opinion on this case. This will set us backward because we are getting on a large rotation program right now, and this will put us backwards if this goes through. Mr. Humphreyville is we have been very respectful on every step of the way. I've known him for many, many years. This has been done with utmost respect and care. He can be training wherever he is because he is not getting a pay cut or he is not getting relocated to another position. He is within actually he has never moved an office. So as far as training goes, he can be training whatever he is. But I need to have people coming up the ranks with the power system and the water and power as a whole, and create the succession planning as a company. I cannot have pockets of what everybody is going to think as rotation and training, and have pockets of, because part of the collaboration is to have share information amongst the section. I have to say my opinion, and I'll just leave it up.
Thank you, Aaron, for your opinion. Barbara, I have a question for you. You know, the Personnel Relations Committee, when we first started, how many grievances did we have in the queue?
I'm thinking it was in the 20s. It was like 24,
I
25.
think it was even more.
It might have been more.
Yeah, I think it was above 30. We had about 30 grievances, Christina, if I remember correctly. And out of the 30-plus grievances, how many times have we sided with the grievant?
I think this is the first time.
This is the first time.
You made the right decision.
No, I just want the.
I've heard everything here.
Thank you. Your testimony is complete. I'm just want the department, and Aaron, I want you to hear that we've heard the department, and this is the one exception out of dozens of cases. And we trust that this department is going to act in good faith and be able to integrate Mr. Humphrey into its ongoing work. And did you had a motion?
I have a motion, and I move that we approve the Personnel Relations Committee's decision.
Second.
It's seconded. So the item passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Barbara, let's return to our other items. I believe we're now at item 31.
Yes.
Item 31 should look very familiar to a matter that was just reviewed by this board last month. This is exactly the same issue. That was the renewal of a standby bond purchase agreement for some short-term debt on the power side. This is the same thing on the water side, and it's the same good story in that we have a continuation of this required liquidity facility at a cost substantially lower than the expiring agreement, so we will save about $350,000 per year, and there's really not a whole lot more to say about it.
Mr. Moss?
Again, I would just again commend Financial Services for doing this. I think it's a real good strategy on your part. So I would move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Hearing no objections, item passes. Next item, please.
Item number 32.
Mr. Pettijohn.
Yes, Chairman Parfee, Commissioners. I'm David Pettijohn. I'm the Director of Water Resources. With me today is Andy Nicknaff, and he leads our watershed management group. We're here today to request your approval of that we enter into a grant funding agreement with the State Water Resources Control Board, which has agreed to provide the DWP with $2 million for our Laurel Canyon Green Street project. This is a stormwater capture project located in the Hanson Hills area in the San Fernando Valley, which is a disadvantaged community. The project consists of constructing 1,400 feet of landscape infiltration swales along Laurel Canyon Boulevard, and that's between Terabella and Cagle Canyon Street, and one dry well sump that's actually located on Cagle Canyon Street. The drainage area for the stormwater capture project is 123 acres, and over the life of the project, it'll provide the department with 1,200 acre-feet of additional stormwater capture and recharge into our San Fernando groundwater basin. Total project cost is $2.5 million. The $2 million grant fund will cover $2 million of that. Our partners, the Bureau of Sanitation, will cover $400,000, and the department's contribution is $100,000. So if you look at the amount of water we're going to capture and recharge into our San Fernando basin, based on what our contribution to the project is, it equates to an $83 per acre foot cost for the water. If you compare that to what our supplemental water provider gives us water for that's similar untreated water. It's $593 an acre foot, so it's a very cost-effective project. Our $100,000 investment will pay for itself in 7 years, and it equates to a internal rate of return of 26.3%. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the project.
Commissioner Moss?
Yeah, I'm excited about this. When will it get started, and will there be opportunity? And who will actually do the construction? Will that be department staff, or will we be outsourcing this to a third party? How's that work?
It's going to be a third-party outsource, and if you approve this today, the construction will start in August of next year, and it will be completed in March of 2016.
And I imagine we'll try and use the local contractors to do this kind of work?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is great. So I would move for approval. But.
And I'd like to commend you. I think that your summary was very well prepared. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing no objections, item passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item, please.
Item number 33.
Susan Rogani is going to be making a presentation on item 33. Commissioners, I did want to preface her presentation with a couple of comments. This has to do with the one of our water quality improvement projects, the River Supply Conduit Improvement Lower Reach Unit 4. Back in August of 2012, the board adopted a couple of resolutions amending the original contract to provide additional funds. And we do not like coming to the board to ask for additional funds on construction contracts. I just want to assure you that. I especially don't like coming to the board and asking you twice. We're prepared to talk to you about what happened on this particular one. One of the things, though, that happens is this board, you've been very supportive of our water quality improvement projects, and we've had dozens of projects that have been completed very successfully, well within the contingency monies. But every once in a while, you get a project that has troubles, and this is one of those. So I'm going to let Susan talk to you a little bit about why we're asking for additional funds, and specifically why this didn't come up the last time.
Okay, just the first photo that you see up there actually gives you an idea of the type of size of pipe that we're putting in and the size of street. So you could see that there are residential streets, and you could see that the size of the pipe in relation to the street size and also the size of the trench. So it gives you a kind of idea of the scope of the projects and the type of neighborhoods that we're working in.
My friends also tell me about the scope of the project.
Seems like a lot of people.
I don't know if the board really needs an in-depth kind of presentation. I just want to turn to the one slide with the pretty Mercedes in it and find out if that's a staff car for the department. Or
I think that's further in. But did you want me to go through this or no?
I think we're well aware of the Ivanhoe Elementary School parents came and spoke to us, so we're well aware of the issues, and we understand that sometimes the projects don't go well. But if I read the board letter correctly, there was an inference that there is remaining contingency in other projects that essentially will cover the increased contingency on this project, and as a result will not cost the ratepayers any more than what we've already allocated. Is that correct?
Yeah. When you look at this from the overall scope of the overall capital budget program, we're going to be under the budget on the overall capital budget program, so this will not have a rate impact.
Okay. Does the general manager need us to amend the resolution to state that the contingency funds being approved here are going to come from unused contingency funds from other deals, or is that just something that you can handle internally?
Yeah, I don't believe that's necessary.
Okay.
With that,
I'm ready to approve it.
Please, I think both Commissioner Noon and I would entertain a motion.
Okay, then let me move for approval then.
Second.
Hearing no objection, the item passes. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item number 34.
Now, Mr. City Attorney, I understand that we have some change in the board language or the contract language on this item.
Actually, there was a amendment, yes, and so what's been posted on the website is correct, but what's in your board package is outdated, so it should be the item that is on.
So it is reflected correctly in the public document.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And do we need a presentation on this item? I am asking my fellow commissioners. I don't think so.
You and I are all three of us are very familiar with the situation.
Yes, we can relive Owens Valley again if you'd like, but I don't think that's necessary.
I think I would entertain a motion if there was one.
I will move approval of the item.
Second.
Hearing no objections, item passes. Next item, please.
Item number 35, and I do have speaker cards.
And could you call the speaker, please?
Okay, the first speaker is Richard Tebe.
Hi, Mr. Tebe. Good to see you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak in support of this item. My name is Richard Tebe. I am with Los Angeles County's Office of Sustainability. We have worked with Water and Power for several years on the SoCal AV project. The county has approximately 2,600 buildings, more than 50 million square feet of space. We're probably one of your largest customers. Our heating, lighting, and cooling is about 35% of our greenhouse gas emissions. We have a fleet of more than 12,000 vehicles. They represent 11% of our greenhouse gas emissions. We have 101,000 employees. The average commute for our employees is 24 miles one way, and their commute represents 32% of our greenhouse gas emissions. It is the second largest source of greenhouse gas emissions after our buildings. We are very supportive of electric vehicles and EV infrastructure. It dramatically reduces the carbon footprint. It is a third compared to a gasoline-powered vehicle. And we really commend the Department of Water and Power for its continued leadership in incentivizing workplace and residential charging. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you call the next speaker, please?
Next speaker is Paul Scott.
Welcome.
My name is Paul Scott. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak on this subject. I helped form Plug-in America about 8 or 10 years ago. It's an advocacy organization for plug-in vehicles. And 2 or 3 years ago, I started working as a car salesman selling the Nissan Leaf. So I have a vested interest in this. I also sell solar energy because my goal in life is to remove as many internal combustion engines from our roadways as possible and power the vehicles with renewable energy. If you look 100 years into the future, that clearly is where we will go. That's where we will be in 100 years. The only question is how fast we can get there. And the societies that move in that direction quickly and stop buying oil from foreign countries and stop polluting their own atmospheres and waterways, those societies will succeed. The societies that drag their feet on this issue and remain addicted to oil will end up paying a lot more money and killing a lot more of their own citizens. What you're starting to do here is going to help move the needle on this issue. As a Leaf salesman, the first 2 years we didn't sell nearly as many as we thought we would. This year, we tripled sales. And I can't speak for the other car makers. They're doing quite well, from what I understand, but we have tripled sales, and there were 2 reasons for that. Number one, we came out with a lower cost car, and that was quite fairly the lion's share of it. But a big part of it was because we started installing fast chargers around town and expanded the level 2 charging considerably. And customers are coming to me and saying, this is now a viable car for me, whereas last year it was not. So to the extent that you can help afford people or allow people to afford charging infrastructure, lowering the cost, overall cost of buying these cars, you will greatly increase the number of these vehicles on our roads, which will in turn greatly clean our atmosphere and our water and improve our economic abilities to, well, first of all, if you look at how much money is being spent on oil and where that money goes, in California we spent $55 billion in 2010 for gasoline and diesel. 90% of that money left California, never to return, and that's $50 billion a year that's leaving our economy. So just on an economic principle alone, it's valuable to do these things. So I appreciate all your efforts on this. I know I was antagonistic toward this board, not this board, but boards in the past, over crushing of the vehicles and things like that. But it's so refreshing to come here and applaud the efforts that you're doing. So I thank you again for that.
Thank you. Who from the department is presenting?
I'll present.
Thank you.
So the package in front of you, Mr. President, is for resetting the incentive rate for the EV program that we have. So just the categories of, we kind of learned from the first phase of providing these rebates to the EV users, and we've divided the incentive into 3 programs, basically the residential, the commercial, and then we have another category where we have AQMD funds, and then each one of them has a different setup as far as the payments that we would make. So the first one is residential, and we have $750 that we would incent the customer to pay for the charger. So we're taking the labor out because the different variation of the installation cost has caused a lot of disparity between the incentives that we've paid. So we took that out. $750 is as an incentive level that we're going to put in there. If the customer chooses to go on time of use meter and a dedicated meter to have a discount on that rate, that we give another $250 towards that additional wiring that they have to do. On the commercial side, it's about $1,000 that we would pay for a pedestal because it takes more conduits and more wiring and stuff, so we took all that into account. And then lastly, the AQMD incentive is $2,500, and then that's a limited number of incentives that we have. It's first comes, first serve. But we think this will kind of spread the money that we have across the varied technologies and kind of make sure that everybody's taken care of when it comes to rebate. We're estimating about 2,000 rebates with the amount of money that this board would approve, and we think it's going to be a successful program.
Thank you. Comments from?
Couple
Yes,
questions.
Commissioner
Firstly, what for the average home that we're paying the $750 rebate on?
It's about 1,000 that we're paying. The initial rebates, yeah.
And then what is the general overall cost?
It's the charger itself varies depending on the quality. You have anywhere from $400 to $600 variation. So it has some money that they could use for other costs. But $750 should cover the cost of the equipment.
The
charger.
Okay. So pretty much close to 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, great. And also, our staff that will be reviewing these rebates, are we adequately staffed to be able to handle the additional applications?
We're struggling with that, but I think we have a good collaboration with Mark's organization as far as kind of making sure efficiencies are realized. When we have staff doing like solar incentives or other setups that we have, we're using those setups as far as getting. Eventually, we're going to have to migrate towards the customer service. We're not ready yet, but I think we're going through these phases, and as we go, Mark and I have been working with Sharon on making sure we kind of make this part of our business at the end, so we don't have to have these pockets of businesses in power or environmental.
Maybe we should form a rebate office for the entire department.
That's part of the discussions that we have.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. So I just want to make an observation. I happen to live in a condo in downtown LA, and it's very difficult to get a charger into my building. And I want to do it. I want to buy it, and I want to have a time of day, meter there, and it's kind of impossible right now. So I would like to ask this, and I'm not alone. From what I understand, there's something like 50+% of the people in Los Angeles live in multifamily units, and so that means that people who are paying into their electric bill they're in a way subsidizing. It's not much, so it's okay. But they're subsidizing people who who own their, single-family residence, and for those individuals to have an electric vehicle. And there's no one who's more supportive of electric vehicle than I am. But we have to figure out a way how to get into the multifamily apartment buildings, condominiums, so that everyone in Los Angeles can benefit from having an electric vehicle. So, Mr. Nichols, I know I might not be around to see the actual report, but I would like to ask the department to please develop a report that really puts forward a strategy on getting electric vehicles into multifamily apartment buildings and condominiums.
We'll gladly do that.
We've addressed it on this package, Commissioner, on as far as the public charging segment. So multi-unit complexes will be eligible to get the incentives if they install in their facilities the charging.
It would be good to see a full strategy on this, because the devil's in the details. And I also want to acknowledge Marvin Moon and the good work you've done, Marvin, on this, and the fast chargers that the department is deploying throughout the city. That's going to make a really big difference. Thank you.
So, with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the item.
Second.
Hearing no objection, the item passes. Thanks very much. Next item, please.
Item number 36.
I can cover this also. On the feed-in tariff, the guidelines that we've had, we had a provision in there that kind of allows the department to assign this contract to a third party. And what we found throughout the experience that we had on the first phase of the feed-in tariff, that this has caused a problem for financing because of this language that we have in the guidelines. So what we are asking the board to approve is for us to eliminate that language that allows us to assign it to a third party, and that way the financing will not be an issue for the feed-in tariff for companies.
Questions from the Commission?
Yeah, so I guess we're looking at Section 12.6 of the agreement. The difficulty I had is I didn't get a red line copy, so I'm not exactly sure what the changes might be. But I assume that we're talking about the second sentence where it says seller may assign any of its rights or delegate any of its obligations under this agreement without prior written consent if such assignment is to a retail customer or buyer who owns the premises.
Yes,
that's the section.
Yes.
Okay, and this we believe will satisfy the concerns.
Yes, and we've gotten a lot of comments from them, as far as financing, and this will solve their issue.
Okay, well, anything to keep the program going.
I'm fine. The resolution does reference the provision, the section 12.6 being changed, so I think that suffices. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I move to.
I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Item's approved. Next item, please.
We're now on to the file items. Item number 39.
My colleagues have any questions related to these items? I have a few.
No, I do not.
So I know, Jim, that we may get a presentation in a few minutes on conservation plans.
Yes.
So that's actually where my comments were going on this, is that I noticed that we are saving money below the base year. Instead of saving money, we're also saving water below the base year. However, not in amounts that we were in previous years. So it looks like some of our conservation standards have slipped a bit. Is that an accurate statement?
Yes, it is.
So look forward to hearing your presentation.
Follow-up question: what are you going to do about
it? Stay tuned.
Okay. And also, I wanted to note that I'm very pleased to see that the water system was able to give Dr. Pickle and his colleagues a tour of some of the department facilities. And it's also, Mr. Nichols, it's my firm recommendation that that's exceedingly helpful for incoming commissioners to also obtain tours. So for the fellows that and women and men that follow us, I really recommend that we provide as many tours as possible so that people actually get a real-world sense of what the department does out there. And then on the On the power side, Aaron, could you tell me, because it wasn't spelled out here, if Haynes generating units 5 and 6 are online?
Yes, all 6 units are online.
All 6 units?
5 and 6 are no longer units.
Right.
So
But now we have the replacement.
The 11 through 16.
11 through 16?
Yeah.
And it said except for Unit 14. Is there a reason why Unit 14?
14 is since this report has been online because we had remember we had a mechanical failure during commissioning, and then that's been fixed and it's online.
All right. Thank you. Those are my questions. Next item, please.
Okay, then we're on to item number 40B, a presentation on Summer Water Conservation Awareness Campaign.
How timely.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Joe Romalo, Director of Communications at the Department. So we worked with the water system over the last couple of months in response to some of the observations that were made regarding the more recent increased use in water compared to the prior couple of years, especially since we had an aggressive campaign, as you know, with the water rates restructuring as well as mandatory enforcement through the drought busters and such a few years ago. So there's a couple of slides just to begin with to provide some context over a longer period of time, and this is something that's not unfamiliar to you. But as you know, you may know that water conservation programs at the Department began in earnest back in 1977, where they began to implement a variety of programs for both commercial and residential rebate programs, technical assistance, and public outreach and education. Also city facility retrofits. And overall, since 1990, the Department has spent $250 million on various conservation programs that resulted actually in water savings. This is hardware savings measured of 102,000 acre-feet per year. So as a result of that is where we find ourselves at the lowest per capita use of any city with a population over 1 million in the United States. So there's been a great deal achieved, even in light of the fact that more recently we've seen a rise in use from the levels that we were at, which were incredibly low just a few years ago. So on this second slide, as you'll see, actually year to date, the water system's on target, the Department's on target for achieving the savings that were projected for this fiscal year of 1,200 acre-feet per year. This is the month by month for the year, actual savings being the blue line, and the Urban Water Management Plan goal for this current fiscal year being the purple line on this chart. So through our additional outreach that we're beginning and that we've started planning this spring with the water system, we're hoping to continue that trend and improve upon it. So toward that, we've worked on looking at what are our basic messages and overall goals. Rather than it being a punitive system where you're going to get fined or ticketed for not complying with water conservation rules, we've tried to back away from that to some degree and talk about just water conservation being a way of life in Los Angeles and really it becoming the norm. So much, our customers do deserve a tremendous amount of credit for having cut back. And now we want to give them the incentives, reminder about what our current rules are and incentives to go further. So we looked at 2 programs in particular. One, the California Friendly Landscaping Incentive Program that the water system really wanted to promote heavily, and also reminders of the Water Conservation Ordinance. So the campaign that we put together focuses on those 2 aspects of water conservation. The campaign that we began last month is meant to be a 3 to 4 month campaign. Take a break during the December and early winter months, and then pick up again next spring. And that has the purpose really of preventing message fatigue. Also, through the first 3 to 4 months, we've begun the campaign really borrowing upon past messaging and past materials, and we're going to evolve that as we go. It'll also give the campaign a little bit more of a fresh feel as we proceed. So you may be familiar with what we had some years ago in terms of the actual water conservation ordinance and are you odd or even with the street address restrictions for 3-day-a-week watering, and also the Cash in Your Lawn program, which has existed for a number of years, but just had not had the kind of promotional push behind it. So we're using right now and have a part of our plan the social media, Facebook and Twitter accounts of the department. And also on the website, you'll see circled in red there is actually the Cash in Your Lawn icon. It's been there for the last 2 months and will continue. We've also, in May, highlighted our water conservation programs in the bill insert that went out to all customers through the month of May and June. And we've been refreshing and revising all of our collateral materials, online materials, as well as advertisements. You have in front of you actually one of the current flyers that we're using for community newspaper ads, which is the Cash in Your Lawn program. The part that we began immediately involved both earned media and paid media, and this slide focuses on the different messages that we are putting out through basically press releases, social media, Twitter. What I can tell you is that on this slide we've had a tremendous response and success since June. We had a feature story almost 3 minutes long on KABC that Rob Hayes did, on KNBC that Patrick Healy did, specifically on the California Friendly and Cash in Your Lawn program. Our staff worked with them, identified the home, had really nice hits, and this actually occurred over the 4th of July weekend, and those stories aired throughout the entire weekend.
And Joe, did you see an uptick in people contacting the department to obtain the incentive?
Yes. In fact, we used to receive about, on average, 5 applications a week for the program, and we've now been consistently in the 45 to 55 range per week for the program. Now, the downside to that, unfortunately, is we're getting a lot of people who have dead lawns that want the incentive, and so there's also sort of about a third of those actually aren't qualifying, but still our overall total numbers are up dramatically.
So a dead lawn doesn't qualify?
That's correct, because this actually should be what results, at least under the current program.
But if they've conserved water and they haven't watered their lawn and it died, shouldn't they be able to change it out?
That's a good question. I'll defer to Mr. McDaniel on that one.
Right.
Joe, please continue.
Yeah. It's definitely an issue for, all right. for some discussion if you'd like. So we actually have a number of feature stories that we're planning on putting out. These are not just press releases that go to the media. We actually distribute them to 10,000 customers, as well as then push this content through our various outlets, whether it's online newsletters, social media like Twitter and Facebook. And again, the response, not just those 2 TV stories, but we see all the media clips and everything. We've gotten a lot of coverage of the Cash for Grass program. I'll be honest, we haven't seen as much coverage of the water conservation rules, and that may play a little bit more into this. And you'll see in a moment for our paid advertising, we're also stressing the days of the week watering, but that was the primary focus of our last campaign that had that dramatic impact together with enforcement. So in this case, I think we're seeing the results we want to see on the California Friendly residential turf replacement program, but I think it'll take some time before we start to see the results on the month-to-month water conservation levels of our customers. So this is actually a PSA that has been produced in English and in Spanish, and if you don't mind, it's just a 30-second PSA. I'll go ahead and play it for you. This is currently airing on Time Warner Cable. We've also been pushing it. It's on our YouTube channel. We've been pushing it over social media. Time Warner Cable for us is an incredibly effective and targeted tool because their service territory overlies the city of Los Angeles very efficiently. You don't want to broadcast on DirecTV because they actually are only nationwide advertising. And then even just KABC or KNBC, you're covering the entire DMA for Southern California. So you're paying for more than you otherwise might. So let me go ahead and click play so you can see this. There it is.
Water in LA is limited. Every drop is precious, but we can all do our share. Fix water leaks, replace grass with California-friendly plants, and get a rebate of up to $2 per square foot. Run your sprinklers based on your street address. Odd addresses on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Even addresses on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Before 9 a.m. or after 4 p.m. The future of LA is in our hands, and that's a good thing.
Joe, question for you. Was that in-house produced, or did we?
Jointly with producer at Channel 35.
That's good.
Yeah. So they do the photography and editing together with communication staff.
Now, one thing I've noticed, and this is just because I've seen it, Parks and Recreation is often watering in the middle of the day, and I don't know if there's any way that we can contact them because I assume that they should be abiding by the watering hours as well.
There's
Mark Gentili could comment on that. There's certain provisions for I'll let Mark explain.
Hi, I'm Mark Gentili, Supervisor of Water Conservation. You can report that just like as you'd report any residence, and then we will go out and take a look. If we see it happening, then we can write a warning and go further.
Do we have an MOU or anything with them that they're going to abide by water conservation rules?
We have an MOU with them that they're saving 20% versus the pre-drought declaration, and I mean they are doing it. So. Yeah.
But they're still supposed to abide by the. They're still supposed to abide by the time of day watering restrictions.
Okay. You might want to check out the spoil of the dam, Jason.
And along those same lines, I know that the department has a number of properties throughout Los Angeles. Along Venice Boulevard, for example, there's the distribution station, and in some of our other facilities, the maintenance yards along Venice, around Fairfax. There's a lot of grass there. Have we ever thought of doing demonstration projects of tearing out the grass and replacing it at facilities such as that have a very high profile?
Yeah, I think both Aram and myself, we have our respective property management groups working very closely with the department's landscaping team. And we're actually in the process of trying to move from a kind of more of a maintenance type organization into a investing more in capital of re-landscaping things. So a number of water system and power system properties we've re-landscaped to move towards California friendly, but it's kind of a major upfront investment. The good side is that it requires very little maintenance on the backside, so we're kind of chipping away at that with our existing staff and trying to refocus them in that area.
That could be a PR opportunity if you did a few high-profile projects and say, hey, the department is doing this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Maybe about 15 of them? I don't know. Just thinking of certain...
Absolutely. There's a great DS right on Riverside Drive in Woodman that was beautifully done with this type of landscaping, and we want, the more that we do of it, the more we'll get the word out about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one high-profile example is coming up is that where the Mulholland Fountain property is being reconfigured. It's going to be Aqueduct Centennial Park, and we're reconfiguring the landscaping there to feature California-friendly landscape. There'll still be some lawn, but not nearly what there was.
As long as it's mule-friendly, I think.
Stole my line.
There's in addition, Mark has an incredible team, the technical assistance team, that has really great success stories with some of our customers, especially commercial and industrial customers. So part of that earned media plan is to get the word out about that team and some of their successes. So those are coming in the coming weeks.
Are we going to be pairing up at all with any of the local school districts or the school district about water conservation?
In terms of rebates, or do you have any programs?
Well, but actually curriculum and trying to get kids. Kids are great cops to their parents.
Yes, we do have our adopted schools where we share this information, and to be honest, in the educational outreach area, there's more that we can be doing, and we'll do. In terms of the paid print advertising, that PSA you saw, by the way, that was a modified version of a prior PSA that we'd aired. The reason we did that is because, again, we hit the ground running very quickly to get that ad up in the first week of June. It's now been running about 6 weeks, so we're producing another spot. And to be honest, I think it's softer than we necessarily thought might be good. It's clearly increased the awareness of the program for the rebates, but in terms of really driving home the need, given this year's snowpack, the second spot, we think we're going to really tighten up that message somewhat to really drive home that this is a very bad water year, actually, and we need you to do more to cut back your use.
And before, we had a kind of an enforcement angle. Are we deliberately staying away from that this time?
I would say yes. We're trying to emphasize education and incentives and de-emphasize enforcement.
Okay.
So for the paid advertising, we're really ramping that up, and part of this is a function of where we were in terms of having existing advertising contracts when we decided this was urgently needed in consultation with the water system, and also the problems that were described earlier in terms of supply chain, and really, we're just jamming POs through supply chain. And in the advertising area, because we don't have a placement firm at the department, this is individual POs and contracts at every single outlet. So we've actually begun in earnest, and Gwen has been wonderfully helpful. But as you look at these next couple slides, there's different aspects of this that we're able to focus on better than others. For example, the community newspapers, we have a good way to contract and pay with them at lower dollar amounts to move forward more efficiently. So there's been ads running already very consistently in the community newspapers. The daily newspapers, print and online, we had done a lot on the cold water ad buy, and we'll be coming back and formalizing agreements with the Daily News, LA Times, La Opinion, Tsingtao newspapers as well. So you'll start to see those appear in the coming weeks in the next month of August. And then there's monthly newspapers are very easy to get into as well. TV, Time Warner, we actually expedited that contract, and we're able to get back on them on Time Warner very quickly. And radio, this is really toward establishing regular annual contracts with radio outlets. This department did not do a lot of regular advertising in the past. Now that we've got much clearer programs, especially both on energy efficiency and water conservation, we can now plan better for that and utilize these outlets. So those are coming together with Spanish language TV and radio as well. And movie screen ads are in progress in contracting, as well as online through patch.com, which is the AOL associated group, and in bus tails as well. So those are our paid media outlets.
If I might ask as well, I understand that we're a little bit constrained for time, but right now we currently have a few tiers in terms of sending a price signal to our customers. Is it envisioned that the department may come back and increase the number of tiers now that we're going to have this new whiz-bang CIS system that can handle it?
As part of our water rate proposal going forward, we are investigating the addition of at least one additional tier, and possibly more. And my understanding is that Syscon will allow us to actually build those tiers, which is a good thing.
That's very exciting. And you had mentioned, Joe, that we do need to, we have this big media market in Southern California. And have we ever investigated trying to do some co-marketing with other water agencies, or with Metropolitan taking the lead, so that we reach the entire media market in Southern California?
So in the past, Met has had a significant annual ad buy. In the last 2 years, though, because the water supply conditions were better in the last year, they've actually backed off of that. But normally we dovetail really well with their regional buy. But they haven't actually been making significant media buys on the water conservation side in about 2 years.
But there is a presence, like the web presence, the bewaterwise.com web presence it's a Met-generated site that directs customers to the individual utilities. So if you go to bewaterwise.com, when we have regional messaging, it'll also direct you back to a DWP sub-site to get into our program. So there are efforts. Met just hasn't been doing much advertising right now, so we're kind of taking the lead on advertising.
Not that it means a hill of beans, but would it be helpful for this commission to direct the water staff to go back to Met and say, we'd like to see them increase their campaign to dovetail into our campaign?
I'd love to be, and Dave would love to go to a Met board meeting and relay that message if that was something that you cared to communicate.
Well, I, for one, would like to.
Well, then let's make that a formal motion then. Let's direct staff to go to attend Met and implore Met to start some emergency advertising on water conservation.
That sounds good to me. Yes, we're in agreement. Thank you very much for your presentation, Joe. Are there questions from the Commission? Thank you. At this time...
I was just going to mention one thing. I had to dig out my well-worn copy of the Emergency Water Conservation Ordinance, And there are two provisions with respect to Commissioner Moss's question about Sepulveda Basin. Much of Sepulveda Basin is irrigated with recycled water. Recycled water is exempt from the time of day watering restrictions, so some of the areas. There are also exemptions for golf tees and fairways and professional sports fields if watering is needed to maintain the playing surface. So that may have been what you saw.
Golfers. So, Mr. Nichols.
Yes, Commissioners, one important point that might have gotten a bit lost in this discussion, and one of the things that has helped us come together with a more cohesive plan like this and feel comfortable about making the good solid investments in this and getting a return on those investments is the action that this board has taken, is having us continue to have consistent programs year after year, budgeted, included in our future revenue requirements and our rates, so that we are able to have a consistent year after year message, and our customers can know that we're not going to talk with them about great ideas and then pull back and pull the rug out from underneath them on that. And that's I think it's been important, and I think you've seen some really good response to our customers of all types doing that, and it applies equally to the energy efficiency as it does to the water conservation. So thank you for that guidance.
Thank you. So, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for your service. Joe Brayevich, I think we're in closed session.
We do have 40C filed RPS report.
Oh, thank you. And it is filed. Thank you. Mr. Brayevich?
So at this point, we will recess in a closed session, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 54957.1, we'll report any final action taken.
Thank you. Meeting is going into closed session.
Will we have it here, or?
Yeah, we're going.
I think we're moving. Yep, I think so.